Congratulations and well done for qualifying for your regional championship. It's a big step forwards in yours and your horse's career. Best of luck with it, and I hope you'll do very well, and this video is to help you achieve the best possible marks. Also, make sure your horse is on the aids, maybe do a couple of transitions, get him going forward, make sure he's listening and responding to you. But on the other hand, try not to show any arguments or disagreements with your horse, because the judge may be watching and it's their first impression of you. So try to show them at your best. As you turn to ride onto the centre line, look well ahead of you at the C marker. Make sure you ride accurately onto the centre line. And this is working trot, so be positive and ride forward. The downward transition may be progressive into the halt. Try to establish the halt so the horse is still and straight and nicely on the bit. Make your salute, and then the move off should be directly forward into a nice straight active working trot. Plan your turn at C. Make sure you ride with correct bend and a smooth rhythm around the turn. The 10-metre circle starts at S, and it's important to keep a good rhythm, keep the horse in a good balance, but remember it is in working trot, so it needs to be active and forward. The turn left comes very quickly, and the halt and rein back is quite demanding on an elementary horse so early in a test. Ride accurately onto the line, and remember the judge at B was going to have a very good view of your straightness in the rein back. The rein back should be 3 to 4 steps. This rider has lost some marks because the horse is both crooked and she has made too many steps in the rein back. Then immediately into working trot and turn right. This all requires a lot of obedience from the horse and accuracy and forward planning. Followed again by a 10-metre circle, this time to the right, where you need to keep the rhythm and the balance and make sure you ride accurately to the centre line and back again to P. The leg yielding is next. You turn down the centre line, hopefully accurately, and you have to start the leg yield at D, and it's quite a sharp angle, so make sure you start at D, don't leave it too late, and keep the horse parallel, moving forward and sideways towards the B marker. The faults you can see will happen, or the horse falls out through the right shoulder, or he could lose the hindquarters, but the rhythm and the balance are the priority. The trot BMC is also part of the same mark. Make sure you ride a nice active trot and be ready for the turn at C. Ride down the centre line briefly, and again you have to start at G this time in the leg yield, and move the horse forwards and sideways. The judge at C has a view of the rear end of the horse this time, and in this case the horse is swishing his tail a little bit, which would indicate the rider's having to use quite a lot of leg. So ideally your horse should be nicely responsive to the leg so that you don't get any signs of tension or resistance. And again you have to keep the trot good as you get to the track, because the trot mark goes all the way round to V. Medium trot comes next. This time it's on the short diagonal VXR. Leave the track accurately at V, make sure you get your horse straight and in balance, pointing him at the R marker, and then ask him to move forward in medium trot. You can rise in this test, so make the most of that to avoid disturbing the horse's rhythm. There is also a mark for the transition back to working trot at R, and that needs to be ridden smoothly without resistance, and you need to show a difference. The transition to walk comes at C. It's medium walk, so make sure the horse is forward and active but nicely on the bit. As you turn across from S to ride free walk on a long rein, Try to show a clear difference with the horse stretching down, using his head and neck, and marching forwards towards the P marker with a nice overtrack and a good correct rhythm in the walk. When you get to P, you have to make a transition into medium walk. Again, do this without resistance and without tension. Keep the walk nicely in 4-beat, ride a good corner, and then prepare the horse for the transition into canter. It's collected canter in this corner, so keep the horse in good balance. Then coming up at V, you have to ride a 20-metre circle showing some medium canter strides. Be really positive about this. The horse will usually keep a good balance on the circle. Make sure you lengthen his frame and keep him in balance. You don't want him on the forehand, and you want to make sure that he shows a good difference by going forwards well with a good length of stride and frame. Then when you get back to V, you have to make a transition back to collected canter, and this is important that you keep the horse without resistance, that it's fluent and he stays soft. You now have to turn right and very quickly bring the horse back to trot. Trot 2 to 3 strides dead straight over X and get back into canter before the turn at B. Then you can balance the horse well in the collected canter from B to R. At R, you have to repeat the same movement again, a 20-metre circle, but this time on the left rein, showing some medium canter strides. Make sure again that your horse is positive. This horse tends to get a little bit lazy in his canter on this rein, and he could have a more active 3-beat canter. Again, you have to ride the transition at R, back into collected canter, and keep going round now to C for the next movement. The Serpentine starts at C. Make sure you don't ride into your corner. It's a series of continuous curves, a Serpentine. It's complicated in this test because you have to ride simple changes every time you cross the centre line, which requires an accurate transition back from canter to walk, be able to walk one horse's length, reposition the horse for the correct strike off on the other leg, and then away into canter, and then to repeat it again. All the transitions should have the walk placed over the centre line. If your horse gets in a muddle, as happened with this horse here, just be calm, rebalance, make sure you get your leg aids on correctly so he can strike off onto the correct lead. There is a mark for the second simple change on its own, and also a mark for the quality of the canter and the shape of the loops in the Serpentine. You need to plan your loops very carefully in a 60 by 20 arena. You should actually cross the centre line just a metre or so this side of I, and again a metre or so this side of L, so that you ride it accurately. Make sure you ride continuous curved lines and not into your corners at the beginning and at the end. The next movement is a transition to collected trot at A. This is quite difficult to ride because the horse has suddenly become used to doing canter walk transitions. Make sure in your training that you practice both canter walk and canter trot transitions. Ride into your corner from A to F, and then on the diagonal you turn across to X, and then at X unusually you go down the centre line. Ride this all in a good rhythm and make a nice easy turn at X straight down the centre line to give a good impression for the last movement, which is the halt and salute at G. The halt is your last chance to impress the judges. Try to keep it straight and square nicely on the bit, but don't fiddle about with the halt. If you try to get, accept what you get at the time. Always look pleased with your horse, reward him well, and make sure he stands still in the halt. Don't allow him just to immediately dash off after the salute.